Do you need some affordable help navigating unfamiliar territory in heart-level parenting? Have you recently come to the awareness that your family relationships aren't what you thought they were? Do unloving family behaviors and the frequent complaint of boredom seem to get in the way of making progress with your children's education? Have you ever heard of the idea of a whole life education for your children that will address all their true needs, thoroughly equipping them for life? Perhaps you're already convinced you want a whole life education as lifestyle of learning promotes, but you don't know what to do about your concerns or how to cooperate with God so He can effectively address your concerns and help you to provide what your family needs. Homeschooling moms are busy preparing lessons for their kids, but don't often have time to commit to regular teaching or mentoring for themselves, even though the relational culture of their homes could use some much-needed attention. This is why we designed 5 specialized mini-coaching programs to provide a little short-term help navigating unfamiliar territory in your family life. The best part is that our prices are as affordable as a class fee. And as a busy homeschool mom, you can go through one coaching program in a month's time at your leisure. Many moms have said that what they've learned through these programs has been like the missing piece to their relationship with the Lord. It has helped them in their own whole life education, as well as in how to apply lifestyle learning ideas in their family. Here's what Carlise said after going through only 2 of the 5 programs.
This program helped me to connect to what God is wanting to do in my life and in my relationships in a mighty way. And probably that guilt and self-condemnation that I have walked in for years, gotten a little bit of victory, fallen back, but never really able to overcome it until this program. And yes, oh yes. That stopped me up. It kept me back, kept me bound up. Back throughout all my years, I would go in and out of depression, loneliness, looking for companionship, looking for people to meet my needs. You know, I know the Lord prepares us for such a time, but the words that were spoken, the individual ministry, hearing what was going on in the other ladies, and looking at the notes and the Facebook page that people were communicating, the growth was just phenomenal. It just made me realize and hunger for the need that I had in my heart for God in my life, to relate to Him, to love Him, to know Him like He wants, not like I think, not according to the false ideas and standards that I had developed through my life about who He was and what He wanted, about what I was supposed to be and what I was supposed to do.
What makes these programs specialized and personal? These programs are not content or message driven. Coaching and mentoring need to be intimate to target personal needs. You may be wondering how our coaching programs can provide that through pre-recorded audios. Hello friends, I'm Marilyn Hauschel. Please allow me to tell you how we created something that could help many people, yet be personal and speak to real needs. In the spring of 2012, I landed on a beautiful idea to help many people at the same time and still target personal needs. When I talked it over with my partner Barbie, she thought it was a great idea and wanted to help me implement it right away. We already understood the heart-level processes that are common to all, but needed help to identify the primary barriers to growth that are also common to homeschooling moms who have been trying to grow spiritually, make changes, and improve family life, but with little progress. When we launched the live program, 26 moms paid to participate. They liked it so well, 24 of them signed up for the subsequent 4 programs when they became available over the next 5 months. The moms varied in spiritual maturity and homeschool experience. A few had been walking with the Lord for a while and had victories in the overcoming life, while others were just starting to invite God to do a work in their hearts. We created a questionnaire and asked them to respond to personal questions in essay form about how they related in their families so we could discover their barriers and stumbling blocks to understanding how inner growth really works. We carefully and prayerfully examined their responses and uncovered 21 primary disconnects in their understanding about inner growth. These disconnects were common to most of these moms, average homeschooling moms just like you. Then we assigned names to each of the disconnects and discussed their characteristics with women over the telephone. We gave these moms actions to take to overcome the wrong thinking that caused dysfunctional behavior, led to broken relationships in their homes, and prevented them from receiving the love of God in their lives. Many of the moms were released toward vital growth in the Lord in a way they had never experienced before, and it began to immediately give them the fruit they desired in their relationships with the Lord and eventually in their family relationships. Here's what Julie said in a conversation with us.
I just felt so out of the loop, really, of this biblical process that I just was never taught. The more that God unveils that to me and takes the scales off my eyes, I think I have 1,000,000 scales because they just keep multiplying and falling off. And then to go through the conscience program and how it just really, I had to be honest about my life when I was listening to the call. I had to be honest when I was reading the material. I had to be honest when I was listening to other ladies share on the page and so forth. And I just,
and answering the questionnaire, too.
Yes, yes. And just having to come to grips with my true state, my true sinful nature, and how I've been doing life on my own and apart from God. And I'm just so thankful. It's not a very joyful thing right now, but I'm choosing joy because I know it's exactly where God wants me to be. But what a gift, though, to be walking this path and walking with the Lord. I just never would be in this place. And just being in a place of reality and knowing really what life is about now is so freeing. Just to know that His hand is on my life and He cares so deeply about this. Even that is something that I just didn't have knowledge of before. It was a head knowledge, and now I'm walking through it and experiencing it. And it's just, He's beautiful. And He's gracious in this process.
Barbie and I were often taken by surprise when learning of some of the deceptions that kept these moms stuck in their thinking, stuck in their relational difficulties, and stuck in their growth. Some of the deceptions just sounded like good ideas they thought were supposed to work for them, while others were the direct opposite of how the Lord in His truth actually works in our personal lives. They learned that ideas aren't neutral. They have power to influence their growth or lack of growth, even unintentionally. We think you'll be surprised to learn some of these truths, too. Here's what Melanie said.
That was good for me to just kind of get a better understanding of where I really am at and what I'm really dealing with myself and kind of where some of these issues are coming from. And so I guess it's been good to hear more about that and to make a connection that, yes, I am really connecting with the Lord and listening to my conscience and some of the things that I'm doing, and kind of sense God in that and realize that God really is there speaking to me through that, and something that I'm kind of working through too as well. So yeah, all in all, it's been definitely very helpful in realizing what things I'm believing and not believing, and I feel like the Lord is speaking to me as I obey and bringing things clearer and helping me to understand where things are coming from and in my kids and in myself as well as I do obey in certain areas.
Here's the content of the programs. Instead of just providing a general audio seminar and a book or article to read, we have created some very personal and dynamic information for you to listen to and absorb. In addition to 4 hours of audio for each program, we are including a topic-specific article to read, 1 for each program, and questionnaires to fill out, 2 for each program, 1 at the beginning and 1 at the end. The same ones our 24 moms filled out for us. I think you might be tempted to skip filling out the questionnaire, but when you go through these programs, I strongly encourage you not to abort this vital step. In fact, our moms reported that it caused them to self-examine and see things about themselves they would have missed had they simply been listening to the audios, agreeing with the concepts only on a mental level. Filling out the questionnaires will help you connect to the responses and growth processes inside of you, so you can identify unhealthy ones. This preparation will lend so much more personal meaning when listening to the audios. And since the audios are not intended to provide a complete instruction on the individual topics, the articles are provided to give you the information that will increase your background understanding so you could make even more meaningful connections. Here's what Carlise said in a conversation with us.
I can sense and begin to see a little bit that all the striving that I've did all these years is coming to an end. It's His way. I've heard it. I've seen it in your lives. But to experience that is just a miracle. I generally knew what the conscience was for, and I've read your material, but it didn't connect till after the Lord, lifted this guilt and self-condemnation from me and began to show me how I could experience His love and forgiveness in a real way, in a permanent way. It all seemed so distant and so far away. So there's a whole lot more that God wants to do, but I'm connected in. And I know it's because of going through these programs.
We've included a special bonus. Each program comes with the transcript of the private Facebook discussions that took place during the 4-week live program. All identities and unique identifying remarks were removed to protect privacy. These discussions were between the participants and Barbie and me. Personal questions were answered, insights gained, and wonderful victories and breakthroughs won. We believe we've created 5 well-rounded programs of instruction that will give you much to think about and work on in your personal life. And while these programs are not seminars, by the time you've heard all the conversations on the audios, specifically targeting real needs, we know you'll feel like you've been to a personalized workshop and received lots of really good sound wisdom, mentoring, and advice, as many have testified. Here's what Cynthia said about the program.
This program has been really amazing. I have so enjoyed it, and I have, read and lapped up pretty much everything that you guys have written or given. And I think what I really loved about this program, one, is that it was a little more personal and that you were taking things that you had shared and were still sharing, and yet also kind of helping us see our disconnect between what we were learning in our mind, but also what wasn't really playing out in the relationship. And I think on the conscience call, one of the things that really spoke to me was the example that Barbie gave of you and her and the forgiveness and what that looked like. And whenever I heard that, it just brought tears rushing to my eyes because it gave a clearer picture of that love and forgiveness and what it looks like.
So if you think you're in need of some focused instruction to connect more accurately to what the Lord wants to do in you toward building the relational foundation that will support a whole life education, then these 5 unique programs in making heart-level connections are for you. If you haven't already, I strongly encourage you to read my new book, Empowering the Transfer of Moral Values and Faith, which provides a foundational understanding for the content of these life-changing coaching programs. Participants who had already read this book were able to recognize their need for a deeper walk with the Lord in discovering how to transfer God's moral values and faith to their children, enabling them to receive a much deeper impact on their growth and relationships from these programs. I would love for you to get started right away with first of our programs, Your Conscience, but realizing that some of the concepts may be new to you, I've provided lots of free content-rich material on this website so you can make an informed decision with your homeschool budget in mind. You won't want to miss listening to the 18-minute audio I prepared to encourage you. Your Hope Inspired presents an idea I want to implant in your mind to influence you towards something good and strengthen your expectation of obtaining it. And if you'd rather read it, you can download the message in PDF format. It also includes a unique discussion of each of the 5 God-given forces for growth, which provide the subject content of the 5 programs in making heart-level connections. And if that's not enough to inspire you, I've also prepared for you a 56-minute audio of my own earliest testimonies of how God worked in these 5 areas of growth in my own life to bring me into a vital relationship with Him. I described some of my experiences that accomplished powerful changes in me and the progression of the daily activity of my life that was taking place in between times. As I did my best to obey the Lord's instruction, He brought me and my family into everything we needed to make a whole life education possible for my family. He's been so good to me, and He wants you to experience His goodness too. This audio is also available in a 14-page e-article, so you can read it at your convenience. Again, all 4 of these inspiring, content-rich downloads are my gift to you right now.